like that. Tell me I'm losing control. They think I'm going crazy like some animal. My friends, they tell me I'm losing control, but I got a secret they don't know. I like that. Tell me I'm losing control. They think I'm going crazy like some animal. My friends, they tell me I'm losing control, but I got a secret they don't know. I like that. Tell me I'm losing control. They think I'm going crazy like some animal. My friends, they tell me I'm losing control, but I got a secret they don't know. I like that.
We are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. It's the first time I have been live in maybe 2 months, so I'm a little bit nervous. I want to say hi to everyone. I want to say a big welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited about today's class. Lolly, salut, bienvenue encore en classe avec nous. Lolly, the most dedicated student on the internet. Taylor is here. Welcome. Where are you from, Taylor? Raghev, welcome again. Here we are. I want to say hola, bem-vindo a Levi Furtado. Cara Furtado, welcome from everybody from Udemy. I'm really happy. É privilégio e honra poder dar aula para vocês. Welcome to Ellen's here. Christina from Brazil is here. Nice big welcome to everyone here. Elif Hale, merhaba, hello. Did I tell you I have plans to spend time in Turkey Elif. Hello, welcome. So today is about prepositions of place, and this is part 1 of 3 lessons in total that I am going to do about prepositions of place. Now, let's. I hope these 3 lessons will be transformational for you to really transform and really show what do you really need to know about in, on, at, on, out, and off. Sorry, it's so normally you see a lesson with in, at, on, but really this lesson in the total 3 lessons will be almost kind of 3: at, on, in, out, and off. Okay. Today will be yes, right. If I had a haircut, my mother cut my hair because the barbers. We are still in lockdown here in Ireland. Locked down for more than a year. Luma, my super student on Facebook, welcome. Hello, welcome. Nice to see you here. So I just want to remind you that you can see a link in the comments. There's a lot of slides, there's a lot of materials, and after the class, I'm going to upload the slides to my little sort of online school. It's completely free. You only need to click on the link, leave your name, your email, create a little free account. It's 100% free. And I'm going to upload the PDF slides and the PowerPoint. So if you're a teacher, you can use this in your class. If you're a student, you can just read it on your phone. Because if there's a lot of information, that's okay. You can get the slides completely for free. Okay. All right. Let's see if my technology is going to work, and we can start the class. Let's see. So 1 second here, guys. Here we go. 1 second. Chrome tab. Here we go. Here we go. Present. And I think it's working. All right. So it's a little bit difficult for me to see all of the slides when I am. Oh no, I can see the comments mostly here, but it's a little bit difficult to see all of the comments. So let's start because we have a lot to see. Today is introduction class, part 1 of 3. We're going to look at introduction of in, on, out, and off. Okay. Part 2 next week will be focusing a little bit more on and off, especially with vehicles. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, but we'll talk more about buses, trains, planes, and how it works. Part 3 is finally, we will see at, on, in all together, because I want to give you a really good foundation with in and on, especially out and off. And then later, finally, in part 3 on May 22nd, which is very exciting, I will give you a complete, because what usually happens in a lesson is that you see at, on, in together in one lesson, and it's a lot of information. It is usually too much information, and it's very confusing. So this is a really good introduction. It's going to be 3 classes. I think it'll be very transformational for you. Now, everybody take a deep breath, because before we start, we need to have a little talk. We need to talk about prepositions of place, and we need to talk about your emotions with prepositions of place, because prepositions provoke anger and confusion in students. I can't tell you how many times I started a lesson about prepositions in a classroom when I worked in schools, and somebody immediately said, "Oh, I hate prepositions." So that's kind of normal. It's kind of normal to have a negative emotion about prepositions and not like them, but just be ready for that, that anger and confusion is not going to help you in this case. But I promise you, I'm really going to show you what you really need to know. Okay, and someone's writing messages to me. So usually when I start explaining about prepositions, someone says one of these 2 sentences where I explain something and they say, "But that makes no sense. There is no logic to this." Oh, please stop writing messages to me now. So that prepositions don't always make sense, okay? Oh my God, I'm going to sneeze in the middle of a live. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Excuse me, sorry. I almost started to sneeze in something in my nose. All right, okay. Prepositions don't always make sense. For example, I want to show you how sometimes you just have to memorize them. Sometimes you need to develop an instinct for prepositions. It's the same for me. In the languages I speak, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian, like Italian prepositions are really hard. French prepositions are not easy. So, but what I want to show you is the 80-20 rule, which is also known as the Pareto principle. That for me, with prepositions, with all of the prepositions of in, on, out, and off, I can explain 80%. There will always be an exception. Some of the rules I'm going to give you, they're not always, you can't use them 100%. They don't work 100% of the time. I can explain 80% of prepositions and show you the logic and the ideas, but there will always be an idiomatic expression, something that has no real explanation. So it's 80-20. So just before we start, and I'm probably going to start the class again this way next week, is just to understand the frustration with prepositions and just understand that emotion in you. But understand in this class, the rules I'm going to show you don't work 100% of the time. I remember I gave this class in a private group I was teaching a few months ago, and a student asked me, what is the logic of this? What is the logic? And you need to be careful that prepositions don't always make sense. All right? Is that okay? You hate prepositions too, Lolly. Yeah. It is what it is, I guess, right? But anyway, let's start with part 1. And I just want to show you the basic difference between in and on. This is very, very important because in a lot of languages, there is no difference between in and on. For example, in Spanish and Portuguese, there is zero difference. It's exactly the same word. En in Spanish and en in Portuguese, or no, na, depending on the situation. But literally, there is no difference. So we need to start first with that first difference of in and on. And this is why I like to start here, this basic difference, before I start to talk about the word at, okay? In is about an inside space. It's a space inside, right? It's the concept that something is related to objects, an object inside. It's a closed space. For example, I live in an apartment. It's a small apartment in my town. I am in my apartment because you can see the door there and it's an inside space. For example, my phone is in my bag. This is not a real photo of my bag. That's not my bag. That's just a photo I found on the internet, just to be clear. But even this idea here of a bag is an inside space. And this is why we will say my phone is in my bag. Okay? In the classroom. All right. So next week, I'm going to talk a lot more about buildings and places. I'm going to show you a little bit this week. But for example, in the classroom, inside the classroom. This can also be applied to the idea of areas and countries. For example, Temple Bar is an area in Dublin. Dublin, the capital of Ireland. So I don't know if you have visited Dublin. It's the capital of the Republic of Ireland, where I am from, if you don't know that. But it's an area in the city center. So you can be in an area, inside an area. You could be in Ireland. I am in Ireland now, okay? So again, in is a space inside. The concept that in is related to stuff inside. Like this is in a restaurant, for example, here. Now, the real secret, the really important part about the word on is the concept of surfaces. For example, here is a floor. The top image is a floor. This is a surface, right? You can see like even the desk here, that is a surface. Any idea of surface to surface contact, we will use the preposition on. And that's the two fundamental concepts you need to understand, is that in is about inside, on is about surfaces. And that is why we will use the preposition on. For example, you are watching this live right now. You are watching it on a computer, on a tablet, or on your phone. The screen you are watching it. For example, I am looking at the camera here. The camera is also the little like on camera. I am on camera now because we watch it with a surface. That is the fundamental visual concept between in and on, okay? And that is why we say on my tablet, on my phone, on my laptop, on my computer, okay? So more examples of surfaces, for example, a wall, to put a poster on the wall. It can be a TV, it can be a laptop screen, it can be anything. I'm trying to just check the comments. Oh, no, it's okay. A TV screen, a laptop screen, but it's always about a surface, right? That's the first fundamental concept I want to show you and to help you. Because I think in Polish, German, Russian, I know definitely in French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese, and Catalan and Romanian, definitely there is no difference between in and on. And that is where you need to start to visualize, to visually see the concept. Lolly saying, was it? I can see you on my computer. You're watching on your computer. Christina says it's true. Yeah, muito verdade. Bem verdade, né? Hello, Alicia Marie's totally blind. Well, I hope you're not so blind that you can't you can't see the live. Okay. So more examples here are a floor, because you sit or stand on the floor, right? There's a menu. You see what is on the menu, what's on the menu. Do you guys remember restaurants? Do you remember when restaurants were open? Because I'm recording this during the lockdown. The restaurants are still closed. But the surface of the paper, the surface of a paper menu, it's the idea on the menu, right? Your skin is a surface. And this is why we use the phrasal verb to put on clothes, right? You see this funny image here that I found online. Oh, ow, my eyes, put some clothes on, right? Later, we're going to talk about the opposites, but for example, to put on and to take off. But even as simple, for example, I don't wear glasses. I am 35 years old, and both my parents started to wear glasses when they were 40 or 42. So I'm probably going to need glasses in 5 or 6 or 7 years. But your skin is a surface. So I don't have glasses here, but even like the little part of can you see the glasses here and that contact here? The glasses and the skin, contact to contact, means to put on, okay? That is the fundamental concept. That's why we say to put on glasses, okay? So that's the first introduction, the first basic start. Right. No, I was not traveling. No, I was just taking some personal time. I was just relaxing. No, I was just doing some personal stuff, just working on all the things in my life. To be honest, life is not fun at the moment. In Ireland, we have been in lockdown for more than 1 year, so it's kind of hard. I just took some time off, but I'm definitely back right now, Rakev. So let's look at one really important point I want to show you. Is that in language, now when I say language, I mean the human ability to communicate. How did we start speaking? We understand human ideas and concepts in opposites. A simple example is, it is impossible to understand the word yes if you do not understand the word no. It is impossible to understand black if you do not understand white. And that is why with in and on, you need to understand them in the concepts of opposites. If you learn a new phrasal verb or you learn a new expression with on, then quickly you can see that the opposite is off. The opposite of in is out. Let me give you some examples to start, right? So this is the concept of opposites. That in a lot of lessons in grammar books, you say at, on, in. But this is why we have started in this class with on, in, out, and off. I want to show you how they work in their basic opposites. So a simple concept here, for example, in the top image, you can see two girls going in, right? And then in the bottom image, you can see two girls going out. So in meaning to enter, to go in. Where's the next slide? To go in and to go out. So actually the verb to enter is extremely formal in English. We don't really use it. We really say to go in or to go into a building. But in the top image, they are going in. In the bottom image, they are going out. Let me just check the comments. And then, for example, here, to put in the oven. So here, I think it's a turkey they're putting in the oven. But again, why in the oven? In because it's a closed inside space. And that is why we would say to put in the oven and then to take out of the oven. If you learn the idea, okay, put the turkey in the oven, then you can already understand the opposite is to take out of the oven. Okay, so to go in, to go out, to put in, to take out. So when you learn those basic phrasal verbs, you can learn them in the idea of opposites: in, out, in, out, or to take, put in, or to take out. Right? For example, I saw this funny photo. It's a small book I saw in the supermarket, and it's called "Get Off Your Beep Phone." It's facts and activities for people who are addicted to their phones. And I liked the photo in the I liked the photo. I thought the photo was kind of funny, right? But thinking again about your phone, for example, this is my phone here. I'm watching the live, trying to watch the comments. But the phone, the screen is a surface. You can see the screen, you can see the surface. And that's why, for example, when you see someone like this here, that's why we have the expression to be on your phone. And that's why the title of the book is Get Off Your Phone. If you're on your phone, then you say to get off your phone, because you learn this in opposites. You learn the opposite kind of ideas, right? So this is the other idea here of to put on makeup or to take off makeup. If you learn the phrasal verb to put on makeup, then you take off makeup. Easy peasy, right? To post something on Facebook. So you can post something on Facebook because you watch or see Facebook online. You see it with the screen, right? Or to take something off Facebook. For example, if you post something on Facebook that's very controversial or illegal, then Facebook can take it off, okay? Just take something off Facebook, right? Or in this case here, we have a dog with its head in a pumpkin, right? The dog put its head in the pumpkin, and now it needs to take its head out of the pumpkin, all right? Let's see. I have a question here from, can we say pull out? Are you talking about the chicken in the oven, the turkey in the oven? Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can pull something out. For example, if you have something stuck in your ear or something goes up your nose, you have to pull it out. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. As in the basic opposite of put in or pull out. Okay, so just to be clear, if we're talking about to take out and to pull out, well, to take out would mean just that it's not difficult. You're just taking something out. But pull out means like there's effort or force. You have to pull out, right? So take out is kind of easy, and then pull out, get there, right? Pull something out, get there. Lolly Lolly says, poor dog. Yeah, poor dog. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he survived, there. Okay, guys, so take that down. So if you have any questions at all, I'm very, very happy. There will be a question and answer session. If you have any doubts at all, I'd love to hear it. Okay, in this part, I want to show you the basic explanation about cars, buses, trains, and planes. Now, next week, I promise I'm going to show you in a lot more detail about how it works with planes and stuff. But just to show you the basic understanding, to give you the basic idea. For example, we say in for cars, because it is an inside space. But specifically, we cannot stand up. You can only sit inside a car. There is no surface to walk on. Okay, that is the explanation. That is the basic difference. So if you say, for example, on a car, it's me here, or in a car, it's there. Let me play the video for you guys. Let's see if I can find it.
On a car. In a car, on a car, in the car.
So that would be the basic explanation of if you say on a car, you're on top of the car. If you're in a car, it means you are inside and you're actually driving the car, okay? So that is the basic difference. When we talk about vehicles, cars, planes, trains, trams, or whatever, right? Basically, we have in for cars and on for almost all other vehicles. But the basic explanation, we say on a train, is because you can stand up and you can walk. You can stand up in a bus, you can walk. Usually, this is when people say, that makes no sense. There is no logic. And I say, yep, yeah, I agree. There's maybe not exactly a lot of logic, but that is the basic idea. That is the basic why. You can only sit inside a car. If you say on a car, it means you're on top of the car. But you can stand up when you are on buses, trains, and planes. But next week, I'm going to talk a lot more about that, okay? All right, so here we are with number one world champion preposition mistake. If you learn one thing and one thing only from this class about the difference between in and on, it will be this. This really is, out of all the mistakes students have, or all of the confusion, all of the problems, this is the number one problem and the number one mistake. This is when people say phrases like this. I was on a restaurant yesterday. On high school, I was a good student. I am on my apartment now, right? Because we say in for buildings, meaning in a house, means you are inside the house. If you say on a house, it means you're on top or on the roof, right? Let me just play the video for you guys.
In a house. On a house. In a house. On a house. Inside house. On a house.
So don't worry, I was never in danger. My father was behind me, holding me. But if you say, for example, on a restaurant, on high school, on a hospital, it literally means you are on the roof. Literally, like I demonstrated in the video, okay? So, for example, this man is on a house. This man is in a house. But this is the number one mistake people have. Because for a lot of students, in and on are exactly the same word in English, then really it doesn't make any difference, or you don't see the difference, because in and on, for example, in Spanish are exactly the same word, and you need to learn to visualize. But this is definitely the number one. For example, to say on high school to get there, okay? So I want to remind you guys that you can get the slides. There's the link in the description. It's completely free. You just need to create an account with my online school. You can just click the blue button, leave your name, your email, and create an account. It's completely free. So all of the slides you see here, you can download them, and I'm going to upload the MP3 after you get there. Some comments here. Lola Lolly is rarely on her car. Maybe sometimes. Alicia, you got that there? There's no way to forget the usage after watching this video. Don't worry, no teachers were harmed in the recording of this video. Be careful. Don't worry, my father was behind me, holding me with a big rope. But I wanted to go that extra level, just to explain the grammar here, get there. So you can get all those slides for free in my online account. I'm also accepting students for private classes. If you're interested, there's a link in the description for more information, and taking classes with me includes free lifetime access to all of my video courses. Some of my students are making great progress at the moment because they study my courses at home and they come to class and they practice with me. The link is in the description, okay? All right, part 5, to get in and to get into. So I want to show you the idea that to get, yes, I know get is a little bit complicated, but to understand get as a verb of movement. For example, to get in is the same idea as to enter a building. So I want to help you and give you some basic examples. For example, get in a car, get in a building. To get in a car is to enter a car. I just remember so many times in my childhood, my dad saying, just get in the car, because he wanted to leave and we were going to a place, but I was doing something and taking too long. Just get in the car, right? And that's why we say to get in that case, all right? To get in a building is to enter a building. So, for example, I live in an apartment building and I don't have my keys here, but I need a special access code for the front door of the building to get in. So, again, you can say to enter. There is nothing incorrect about saying to enter in this case. But the problem is it's super, super formal. Really, a native speaker will say you need an access code for the front door of the building to get in. Tanya says, show us when you're in the car driving it. I'm still learning to drive, Tanya. I like the idea. It's a good suggestion. Maybe I can ask my brother to take a video of when I'm driving it. I like the suggestion, right? So to get in a building is to enter a building. And actually, I have a special key where I don't remember the code to get in, but I just have beeps, like a special key to get in, okay? Because of the opposite, for example, to get in and out, the expression here to get locked out of your house. So to lock a door is to lock with the key. But to get locked out or to be locked out, it means for some reason you lost the key or you left the key inside your house and you closed the door accidentally, but you can't get into your home, right? And this is really, for example, in and into are extremely similar. There's almost no real difference, but you do see it, for example, it's just that in is the idea of inside, and to is direction. So when you want to say get in the building, get into the building, it's really exactly the same thing. It's just two ways of saying the same basic idea. It's not a big difference, right? But to get into the building. For example, my student Julia, my brilliant friend Julia from Brazil, she studied with me in Dublin, and she told me once, she's gonna kill me for telling this story. She's gonna kill me. But she told me once when she was 13, she accidentally locked car keys inside the car of her dad's car. And basically they wanted to leave. They wanted to go visit someplace, and they couldn't get into the car until help arrived. He had to call a professional, you know. She's going to kill me for telling this story. So if you remember in international politics, in the American political situation last January, because I made this slideshow really in January, and it was really in the news. Protesters got inside Capitol Hill. They got into the official offices. And some of them are facing very serious consequences, very, very serious legal consequences. But this is how about they got into the official offices. Again, there's nothing incorrect about saying they entered the official offices, but a native speaker will never say that. It's just too formal. They got into the official offices, right? So in is inside and to is for direction. So protesters entered the building. It is still correct. They got into the official offices, right? Let me just check the thing here. The protesters got into the official offices. They got access. So in this idea of get, it's the idea of movement. It's the idea of effort that they were trying really hard actually to get in, right? Another idea here, for example, another expression is to get into university. Now, this expression to get into university, it talks about the process that when you are in secondary school or high school and you study and you pass the exams and get access to university, where you pass your exams, your results are good, and the university accepts you to get into university. So I was really, really lucky. I got into a great university. I did not study at university directly after secondary school. When I finished secondary school, I worked for 3 or 4 or 5 years working in a hotel in the cleaning with Brazilians. And that's how I learned to speak Portuguese, because I didn't go to university. I just spent 4 years working in a hotel with Brazilians and Spanish people. Aí eu aprendi a falar português. But later I did a special 1-year course to get into university, and I got into a great university, and I was really lucky. So again, we cannot say to get onto university. If you say onto university, that means on the roof of the university, all right? The exams to get into university in Ireland are not easy. They are very difficult. They are talking about changing the system because it is so stressful and so difficult, right? I did a special access course to get into university. I would never have got into university without this special course, okay? I have a question for you guys. Is it difficult to get into a good university in your country? And what was your experience with your secondary school exams? Let me just go to the comments here. Really on my car. Get is overused. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's used a lot. It's definitely used a lot. Alicia, maybe I can do a live class about get in a few weeks. Maybe it can really help you. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I promise you, every language has some verb that is like it. For example, in Portuguese is the verb ficar, which is like the version of get, where you use it in so many different ways. It can be a little bit, a little bit difficult to understand. You got into a fight, Alicia. I hope that's not true out there. Tanya's talking about show us when you're in a car driving. I like the idea. Yes, I wash my hands too many times. I have problems with my skin. I really wash that there. Okay, so Christina's saying if you study very hard, you can get into a university here, Christina, in Brazil. Out there. Okay, very good. Did you study very hard? I did not study very hard in secondary school, but I studied very, very hard in my access course. All right. Bem escrita a frase. Gostei, Christina. Okay, I think it's the final section of the class now. So this is one question I had before. Do we say to be in bed or to be on a bed? So it's a very simple explanation. So you can be in bed or sit or stand on a bed, right? If you say to be in bed, this means that you are lying down, you have the bedclothes, you are covered, and you are asleep, right? It's, for example, if you wake up and then you're checking your phone and you are lying in bed, it means you're sort of in that inside space of lying, or basically when you are sleeping, okay? But, for example, in this photo here, the woman is sitting on a bed or standing on a bed, right? English vibes is here, on when it's a surface. Indeed it is, my friend. Indeed it is. You study in a university. Oh, very nice. What are you studying, Christina? And are you studying very hard? So that is the basic, oops, sorry. Let me go back here a second. That is the basic difference of why we say in bed. I know this does not make a lot of sense. I know there's not a lot of logic with this, but basically, in the moment when you are sleeping and you are covered with the bedclothes, you are in bed. But if you're standing or sitting on a bed, I mean that is the difference. When you have an action verb with the bed, like that there, should be careful. So, for example, here, to get into bed is the idea to sleep. Get into bed means I'm going to get into bed, meaning that I am going to, put on my pajamas, cover myself with the bedclothes, turn off the lights, and start to go to sleep. But to get onto the bed means to sit or stand on a bed. For example, here you can see the dog is sleeping on the bed. In this case, he is not covered by the bedclothes. So I have a question. Do you have pets? And do you have dogs or cats? Are pets allowed on the furniture in your house? If you had a dog, or if you have a dog, would you let it on your bed or on your sofa? That's a question I have for you guys. Alicia is saying English, it's complicated. It is complicated. What's your language? What's your first language, Alicia? Where are you from? I'm just very curious because I learn several languages. I'm sort of multilingual, and I don't know an easy language, to be honest with you. I don't know an easy language. But if you had a dog, would you let it on your bed, on your sofa? For me, the answer is absolutely yes. I would. If I had a dog, and my dream is to get 6 or 7 dogs, that's my absolute dream, is to buy a house and have like 6, 7, 8 dogs. I'm serious, no joke, like that there. And I would absolutely let them on the bed or on the dogs out there. Hola Vera, bem-vinda. Welcome Vera from Brazil. Lola says, my cat is allowed to get on the bed but not in. Would the cat want to get in bed? Like, I don't think the cat really would enjoy being covered by the covers out there. But it's nice you let the cat on the bed, you know. It's kind of nice. You can cuddle with the cat on the bed. Hi Vera, bem-vinda. It's nice to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Let's see here. So just the final section here before we finish. To get out of a place. So if we have to get in a building, like the Capitol Hill, where the supporters got in, or for example here, my apartment building, you need a special key or access code to get in the building. The opposite then is to get out of a building. And for example, there's an expression here, let's get out of here. And this basically means let's leave this place. And you see this in action movies. Let's get out of here. Let's get the hell out of here, right? It basically means let's leave this place, okay? So, for example, a bar that is crowded. Crowded means too many people. I think we almost don't remember what that is anymore, right? Or you have a cafe, there's too many people, and you say, oh, let's get out of here. Let's leave this place. Common expression. Let's get out of here. So another idea, for example, I am in a very small town right now, but a lot of you live in cities, in really, really, really big cities. Alicia, you speak Visayan. It's the second most spoken Filipino language. Yeah, well, I can guarantee it's not easy. I'm sure it's just as complicated, but that's really cool. I'd love to visit the Philippines. I would love to go out there. Yasmin, would you please hire me as a dog carer? No, that's my job. That's no, I'm sorry. No, that's my job. That's all my job. But anyway, some of you watching this are living in cities, and a lot of you in the urban environment, sometimes it's a very heavy environment and you get tired. You feel like, oh, tired of the urban environment. But you say to get out of the city means to leave the urban environment, right? So a lot of people are saying stuff for the moment. For example, people are getting out of the city because a lot of people are working from home constantly at the moment. And because they are working at home, they can work where they have internet. So a lot of people are choosing now to get out of the city. For example, a friend of mine who lives in Chicago, he's a software engineer, software developer, and he and his wife decided to get out of the city center to go to the outside of the Chicago, where the rent is cheaper and where it's kind of easier there. Let's see a question here. What was it here? There's a big question. Get off the bus, get out of a helicopter. Yes, get off the bus, bike, train, plane. I'm going to talk a lot about that next week, English Vibes. Get out of a car, get out of a taxi. Yes, get out of a helicopter. I'm not sure about a helicopter. I need to check that one. And it can be both get out or get off bed, depending on the context, because if you're getting out of bed, is when you are covered. And you would want to get out of bed, and then get off the bed is maybe something you say to the dog, like get off the bed because they're standing on the bed. So definitely both are possible. And I'm going to talk about street next week as well, English Vibes. So With the street example, to be in the street or to be on the street is really one very simple difference. I'm going to talk about this next week, but if you are in the street, it means you are walking where the cars usually pass. And that means usually you see this, for example, in protests or big celebrations where you say people are in the street, where people are walking where they're not really supposed to be. And that's why sort of like, for example, if you are driving and you're not driving in the correct place, you say, hey, wait, you're driving in the middle of the street. You need to drive on the left side. So that's the basic meaning of it there. So, for example, if people are protesting in the streets, the police tell them to get out of the streets because they're in the part where where they should not be and they're walking. But if you say to be on the street, means usually is with the verb to live. Or, for example, if you say what shop, where is the shop? The shop is on Main Street, or I live on the street. But English Vibes, I'm gonna talk a lot more about that next week. I actually have prepared parts about that next week. Okay. To get out of this small town. So I live in a small town. To get out of the countryside. So if you don't live in the countryside, it's a little bit boring. I am from the countryside, a very small town, and really, my big motivation to be a linguist was I wanted to get out of my small town and I wanted to travel. And I still want to get out of my small town. So let's get out of here. Let's leave this place. So me personally, I need to get out of the house every day. I need to get fresh air every day because I work from home and we are in lockdown. Nothing else is open. Whoop. What was that there? Get out of here is another expression you can see. You can say it's about like leave my house, leave this place. Get out of my house, leave my house is like sort of like get out, because the opposite of get in. To put a camera in someone's face is kind of an idiomatic way, where if you see that we're famous celebrities and they're going crazy and they're putting cameras in directly in the space of their face, and you have this expression, get that camera out of my face. I've heard people like Russell Crowe, famous actors, saying, get that camera out of my face, right? Get that camera out of my face. So my neighbors are playing outside, making a lot of noise. Don't know if you can hear those guys. Mom, get out of my room. I'm playing Fortnite. Or the dog can't get its head out of the pumpkin out there. Or now I'm speaking a little bit too quickly now, but we're almost finished. So if we have the expression, let's get out of here, to mean let's leave, a very common sort of native speaker reduction is let's get outta here. That out of becomes outa. Let's get out of here. Happy Friday. Let's get out of here. Okay. So I think that's the end. So just to remind you guys, you can get the slides. The link is in the description. It's 100% free. You just need to create a small account with my online school, English with Terry, and you can get I'm going to upload all of the slides that you saw here, and the MP3 recording in a few minutes is completely free. I'm also accepting students for private classes. The link is in the description for more information. The private classes with me include free lifetime access to my video courses, where a lot of my students, they study video video lessons at home, and then they come and they practice with me. Some of my students, Rafael and Pepe, are making fantastic progress this week. So if you're interested or you want to take your English to the next level, I'm available and you can book a free 30-minute trial lesson with me if you're interested. Okay, that is, here we are. Let's see. This, my city is not, no, I'm sorry, Tanya, that's not my city. That's just a photo from the internet out there. Oh, I like this one, Alicia, get out of my sight. Yeah, I heard that a few times from my mother in my childhood, definitely. Let's get off the street. I think that English Vibes, I think that's definitely a case where, there will be flexibility. I don't know if you saw the start of the class where like I can explain 80% and then like there's 20% is just an idiom and it doesn't always make so much sense. But I have specific notes next week to talk about street. And I remember It's in part 2. It's in next week. So if you want to get there. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. This is just part 1 of part 2. Next week, we are going to talk about get on, get off, and looking more about on and off, and really continuing some basic ideas. I hope you enjoyed the live. Remember, you can always get the slides. It's completely free. I'm going to upload them now in just a few minutes. And well, God, my voice is really tired. I've been speaking for 50 minutes. All right. Okay, thank you guys so much. Obrigado, Vera. Obrigado por ter vindo. Merci à toi, Loli. C'était vraiment un plaisir de te revoir. Jesus, I need to practice my French. Muito obrigado por ter vindo, Christina. Até a próxima. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Where's the button? I can't find the button.